Hello.
Hello.
This is the Witches, Magic, Murder, and Mystery podcast. I'm saying it right up front at the very beginning since we forgot last. Yep.
Yup.
Yeah, so what is it? Let's say March 7th. Anything interesting, exciting going on in your world? I don't know. I feel like I have been just flying by the seat of my pants for the last week.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what to tell you guys. Just, hi, I'm glad you're here.
We're just trucking along, doing the thing.
Yeah, it's great. And I love it.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I hope you all are having a good March so far.
Yeah.
And we're all getting ready for March Madness here in the Kentucky.
Ooh, gearing up for those days. Sophie's dad's a huge UK fan. And I texted him, trying to get our schedule planned for the month because that's what we do. He's in the medical field, so it's hard to figure his schedule out. He said, actually, I'm going to Tampa for a week and a half. So if you could be okay with having her, I was like, it's totally
like for the whole tournament?
Yeah.
Basically?
I was like, it's totally fine. I get it. You're fine. It's whatever.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was in Tampa.
Yeah.
I don't really get into UK basketball as much, but I love UK
God,
football.
Did you see the women's UK basketball team? We watched the last 5 minutes of it.
I'm super pumped about it.
I almost cried. I teared up because they were so happy.
Yeah. That's their first SEC title in
yes,
a really long time.
They battled hard for that.
This is a sports podcast. I don't know if you guys. So anyway, it's Friday, so full episode. And let me tell you, this one
is a doozy.
I don't know how I'm going to categorize it, if it's going to be.
I love those where we're like, I don't know what this belongs in.
Well, normally I would be like honorary witch, but I am afraid, we could talk about this at the end. I don't want that to come off as offensive to anyone who might hear this episode and not know us.
Oh.
Which is a possibility because of what I'm going to be talking about. This will all make sense later.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we say you're Kara and I'm Megan? We did.
Well, here we are, though.
Again, Megan, Kara,
Megan. Nice to meet you all.
One last thing. This probably doesn't matter, but I feel the need to let you know. I started editing the YouTube videos. Remember how they used to be like the unedited whatever?
You get us raw.
Not anymore. Now we're going to start editing them. Just so you know, in case you're a YouTube person and you're like, this seems different. That's why.
Evangeline is...
Listen, Evangeline, there's a cabinet over here that keeps opening. If you all hear like a creepy creaking noise, it's her opening this door.
Opening and closing the door.
And now she's messing with the computer.
Turn the computer on.
I feel like
the house
has heard much from her lately. So.
She's feeling what? You know what? We willed it because the other day we were in here and you were like, Evangeline hasn't done anything in a while. We'll have to bring her up.
She's like, here I am.
She is.
Okay. So we got a DM last week from Courtney, and here's what it said on Instagram. In honor of Ukrainians who are fighting for their freedom, I thought it might be a nice idea to have an episode of Olga of... Okay. I learned the right way to say this. Kiev is how they say it in Russian. But there's hang on. The correct way to pronounce it is Kyiv. Kyiv in Ukrainian. So when you hear Kiev, that is Russian. Kyiv is Ukrainian. And that is currently, as we are recording,
we're gonna say
it is still Ukrainian.
Yes.
The girl who did the TikTok that she's Ukrainian and she was telling people how to pronounce it, there were so many mean comments from people who were like, just say it the Russian way. That's all that matters. And I was like, this is the worst part of social media. So Olga of Kiev. She's a fierce saint goddess who protected her city. It's a very interesting story. She's the statue that you see in the capital of Ukraine in all the videos right now. And I was like, I know exactly the statue she's talking about. This sounds great. I can't wait to look it up.
Right.
Now listen. When Courtney called Olga fierce,
she wasn't kidding.
She was not playing. I mean, just wait till you hear this story.
Okay, I can't wait.
Okay. Are we ready?
Buckle up.
Okay. So we don't know when Olga was born, but they estimate it's as early as 890 AD or as late as 925 AD.
Okay.
So very, very, very long ago.
Forever ago.
She was born in, I pronounced Kyiv right. I'm going to pronounce basically everything else wrong. Just handle it. Okay?
That's what happens. That's what we got to do.
She was born in Pleskov, which is one of the oldest cities in Russia. It's basically in northern Russia, and she is of Viking descent. Just to give you an idea of what we're working with.
I love this. I hope she had like wild braids.
Oh, yeah. When she was 15, she married Prince Igor of Kiev. I'm going to say it wrong. I know I will. So, Olga married Prince Igor, who was the son of Rurik, founder
I
of
love that name.
the Rurik dynasty.
I love it.
Yes. And they had a son. I did look this up too. Sviatoslav. TikTok did not teach me how to pronounce that one. YouTube did. Okay. So, quick history lesson to the best of my ability, because I needed to understand like the Rurik dynasty. So, we're putting on
so much. Okay.
History lesson. Ready?
We have created our own Game of Thrones.
Basically, this guy, Oleg, got like all the people in the area together and consolidated power. And then he started conquering the neighboring tribes to have everybody ruled as one group.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And he established a capital in Kiev.
It's like the movie Brave.
It's exactly like
Disney
Brave.
movie Brave. Turn it around.
Yeah, but Russian.
Yeah.
This was a loose federation of East Baltic, Slavic, and Finnish peoples, and it was known as Kievan Rus. Don't know. Okay?
Yeah.
Kievan is the first word. Second word, Rus.
Yeah. That's exactly
like
what that is.
Russia. And that's important later. But Kievan Rus. Today's Belarus, Russia, and Ukraine claim Kievan Rus as their cultural ancestors.
Okay.
Belarus and Russia's names both come from that Rus part, you know? I'll pass out a study guide at the end of the episode. We're going to have a pop quiz tomorrow.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not really a pop quiz. I'm telling you about it, but it's like I'm a really great, cool professor. Okay.
Yeah. She's just giving you
I'm not just any professor. I'm a cool professor.
to be highlighting your notes right now.
So now, the Drevlians were a neighboring tribe.
Okay.
They had joined together with the Kievan Rus Empire to fight against the Byzantine Empire, and they paid tribute to the leaders that had come before Igor. Okay, Igor is the one that Olga married, right? But when Igor took over, the Drevlians decided they weren't going to pay tribute anymore.
Oh.
I keep thinking of tribute like taxes, except it's not really that official. I think it's more like, in your honor, we're going to pay you to take care, to show that our allegiance to you.
Yes.
Right? It's like gifts.
Right.
They're like, we paid your dad. Now he's dead. We're not sure about you.
We're not going to keep this up.
Igor did not like this.
Oh.
So he and his army went to the Drevlian capital in order to force them to pay tribute to Kievan Rus.
Man.
When they got there, the Drevlians were like, dude, that is a big army you got there. And that's exactly what they said. Dude,
that army.
Big army. And they backed down and they paid him. And Igor and his army turn around to head home. It's like a 2-day journey, I think.
He said, bow to you, queen.
That's same. But then while they're on the way home, Igor was like, you know what? I don't feel better. Like, I don't feel satisfied by this. I don't think that was enough.
Oh,
so
he needs more.
He sent most of his army on home, but then he took a few of them and he turned back to go to the Drevlian capital again to demand more money or demand more tribute. I don't know if it's all necessarily money. I think of it's some of it
goods and animals and
right. This time when he got there, I guess the Drevlians were like, we just paid you. And also you don't have your big army anymore. And so they killed him.
Oh.
And apparently it was a rough death. He was captured by them, tied to tree trunks, and torn in two. Have you ever seen any of those Faces of Death movies?
Yeah.
Me too. In college, I saw one.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was watching it, there was a part where you saw someone be drawn and quartered. Mm-hmm. And I still wish I'd never seen it.
Yeah, same.
Actually, the whole movie has
like,
things.
it just
like,
is flashing through my head, and I'm like,
that's what I thought of when I saw this.
Oh.
So now it's 945 AD.
Mm-hmm.
Prince Igor is dead, leaving Olga and their son, Sviatoslav.
Yep.
I'm going
to
keep
really
saying
good.
it. I know. Thank you.
You're really good at this.
We think Olga is around 20 years old at this point.
Oh, man.
And now, since his father died, Sviatoslav would be the next in line to rule. But he's 3 years old.
He can't do that.
That doesn't seem right. So Olga takes over, ruling as regent on behalf of her son, making her the first recorded female ruler of, it says of Russia, but it wasn't officially Russia at the time, right? And you are not going to believe what happens next.
I can't wait.
Oh my God. Or maybe you'll totally believe it because we're women and of course this is what happens. But the Drevlians find out that Olga is now the ruler. Mm-hmm. So they send 20 negotiators on a boat to Kiev to tell her we're the ones that killed your husband.
Fear
and
us.
Now you need to marry our prince. His name is Prince Mal. You're a woman.
No,
you don't want to do this by yourself.
No.
Little lady.
Let us help you. Let us tell you how to do this.
You're so pretty.
You're so cute.
You're
Just
so pretty. Just
sit there and smile.
Olga says, ready? I'm just going to read. I don't want to paraphrase this at all because it's beautiful.
No, don't.
She says, your proposal is pleasing to me indeed. My husband cannot rise again from the dead, but I desire to honor you tomorrow in the presence of my people. So return now to your boat and remain there with an aspect of arrogance. I shall send for you on the morrow, and you shall say, we will not ride on horses nor go on foot. Carry us in our boat, and you shall be carried in your boat. Like to show honor, to show that her people are going to, bow down to them. And the Drevians are like so dumb.
They're like,
they have no suspicions about anything. They're just like, we tell her she's pretty and she'll do anything we want. Yeah. They do what she says and they go and they come back the next day and wait. And the people come to the boat and they tell the people of Kiev what she told them to say. We're not going to walk. We're not going to ride horses. You got to carry us in our boat. And so the people of Kiev did. They picked up that boat and carried the Drevlians to Olga's court. And the Drevlians are like,
great.
This is a great honor.
Yeah.
Like we're riding in one of those covered vehicles, that people like put on their shoulders and carry like nobility on. They're like, God, this is working out perfectly, you guys. They're all like fist bumps.
This is great, guys.
This is amazing. Here's what they didn't know. Whenever they had left the day before, Olga had ordered that a trench be dug in the court. So the people who were carrying the boat of Drevlians carried that boat right into the court and dropped them into the trench. And then the Drevlians were buried alive, boat and all, right there in the trench. Olga bent down over the trench to watch them as they were buried and asked whether they found the honor to their taste.
Oh my gosh.
I would not cross this woman.
No.
I am terrified.
I would be bowing at her feet. Oh my God.
You would.
Yeah.
She's not done yet though. Okay.
This is incredible.
She sends a message.
It's to their taste.
Oh yeah.
Do you appreciate the way that I handled this?
So she
my God.
sends a message to the Drevlians. Now, they have no idea what's happened to these 20 negotiators they sent the day before, right? So she sends a message and she's like, hey, send your distinguished men here so that they can bring me to your prince. And the Drevlians, of course, they don't know what's going on.
They don't have cell phones.
Gather Facebook, not yet invented.
No.
So they gather up the best men who governed the land of Dereva, and they sent them to fetch Olga. When the men arrive, Olga's like, you big strong man. You have had a long, hard trip and you deserve a bath. My people have prepared the bathhouse for you. So go ahead, go take care of it, feel better, relax. And then once you're all cleaned up, you can come get me. And the Drevlians are like, this is so hot. And
we want to be bathed so bad.
They all go into the bathhouse.
We all feel so dirty.
And that's when Olga orders the bathhouse to be set on fire and the doors bolted and all the men inside die.
Oh my God.
She's still not done.
Still not done. Okay, great.
Okay.
Great.
Okay. Real mad about her husband.
She's really upset about this. Even though he was really greedy, she still is.
I had that thought too the first time I read through it. And then the second time I was like, it doesn't really say, like, I don't know what normal tribute would have been.
Right, that's true. Maybe they didn't give him what his father would have done.
And then the fact that they resisted and he had to go make them pay. Like, maybe he was just like, I don't feel like you learned your lesson. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. True.
Also, it was the 900 AD.
Yeah.
Life was different. The people back in Dereva have no idea what's happened. So they get another message from Olga that says, prepare great quantities of mead in the city where you killed my husband, so that I may weep over his grave and hold a funeral for him. And they're like, ugh, stupid woman, but okay.
Whatever she wants, as long as it gets her here. I don't care.
Then Olga and a small group of attendants arrive at Igor's tomb, and she did cry.
They gave him a tomb?
I know, they killed him too. I mean, I guess because he is still a leader.
Yeah.
And maybe it's also like
Also, they
to
put
show
his
what they
tomb-
did.
Yeah,
right?
they
Like,
put his
we
tomb
killed
there.
him. Right?
Yeah.
So she did go there. She did cry. And then she held a funeral feast. The Drevlians joined her and began to drink a lot. Once they were good and drunk, Olga ordered her followers to kill them. While that was going on, she like sort of wandered around encouraging her people. You're doing great. Good job. Good job. You get him. Good job. You
I
look
liked how
great
you
today.
stabbed them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Excellent work. Really
That
proud.
was very clean. That was a clean cut.
According to the Primary Chronicle, an 11th century manuscript that is the main source for a lot of the info we have on Olga, 5,000 Drevlians were killed on this night. Olga's still not quite.
She's not done.
You know, in Hamilton at the duel, he's like, I'm satisfied. Not
No,
her, just the exact
she did
opposite
it.
of that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 commandments. She goes back to Kiev to
Yep.
prepare an army and goes to battle. She led her army to Korostin.
Yeah.
Now Korostin.
Yeah.
That's the city where Igor had been murdered. And she laid siege on the city.
Oh my God.
The battle went on for a year and nobody's winning. So then she has this idea. She sends a message to these last Drevlians.
Yeah.
And she says, why do you persist on holding out?
Mhm.
All your cities have surrendered to me and submitted tribute so that the inhabitants now cultivate their fields and their lands in peace. But you would rather die of hunger without submitting to tribute. So she's like, just
Give up.
pay your tribute.
Yeah.
And we'll move on.
Yeah.
Now the Drevlians were like, that sounds great, but if we do this,
It's gonna make us look really bad because we tried to do all this stuff
and
then
we
you
gave
did
in
all
to
this-
a woman,
You did all this stuff to us, so now.
but they're also like, you're still going to want revenge on
Right.
your husband's death. And so they just didn't trust it. You
They're
know?
like, finally, we've thought about this.
Yeah.
we
We also wish we hadn't started this war, but here we are.
Yeah.
And she said, no. I feel better. I murdered those guys in the boat and the
Mhm.
ones in the bathhouse and the ones at my husband's funeral feast.
Mhm.
I'm good.
I'm
We're
okay.
good.
Yeah.
good.
Everything's fine.
All I need you to do is send me 3 pigeons and 3 sparrows from each house, and we're even. We'll call it square. The Drevlians are like, this is great. 3 pigeons and 3 sparrows. Like, that's
It's
super
totally
small
easy.
price to
We can do
pay.
that. We can do that.
Yeah, war's expensive. This
Yeah.
will end it.
Yeah.
So they were like, that's what we'll do. We're going to do
Right.
it. Mhm.
Okay.
So they do.
Mhm.
And Olga orders her army to take small pieces of cloth and tie a piece of sulfur to each bird. Then at nightfall, she has the soldiers set the sulfur on fire and release the birds. The birds fly back to their nests in the city and set the whole place on fire. As the Primary Chronicle tells it, there was not a house that was not consumed, and it was impossible to extinguish the flames because all the houses caught fire at once.
She's genius.
And terrifying.
Yes.
The people in the city started to run away to escape the fire, and they're caught. Then they're either murdered or kept as slaves.
Oh my gosh.
And now her revenge has been settled.
Yeah. She feels better.
She feels good. She basically wasn't going to rest until she just got annihilated the Drevlian tribe, basically, because they murdered her husband.
God. I would do that for you, and I would do that for my children.
Yeah.
That I would hurt somebody over. I would take over some tribes.
And she is doing it for her child because
Yeah, he's 3.
he is supposed to be the next in line.
Mm-hmm.
If she shows any weakness, number one, she's a woman, so she already knows everybody's going to underestimate her. But she has to show, she has to keep control. Like another man, just like they tried to do, can't just come in and think, I'm going to take this from her because she's a woman. This is her son's birthright. And she's got to protect it for him. So she was an intelligent queen.
Yeah, she was.
She changed the system of tribute gathering in the first legal reform recorded in Eastern Europe. Because I feel like when I first started reading this, I was like, I don't know. I don't know how to tell this story. I'm not sure how well it reflects on, but it's not like she was just this vengeful. Like there was a reason
She
for
was
it.
creating change.
Right. And it wasn't just about vengeance. I think that was part of it.
Right.
Because she was creative
Oh, yeah.
and ruthless.
Oh, yeah.
But it was also this was the only way she could do it.
Yes.
You know, keep the kingdom for her
Yeah.
child. I mean, it was really new too, right? Like she was married to Igor. It was Igor's dad who had united everything. So
Yeah.
it's not like this had been
And
a
he didn't have it
well-established.
long.
Right. She also established trading posts, hunting grounds, boundary
Wow.
posts, and towns across the empire.
Oh my gosh.
And her son went everywhere with her, learning all about the job.
man.
Her trade centers also served as administrative centers, which helped centralize state rule. And then this network of trade centers helped unify the Rus people. And Olga's border posts began the establishment of national boundaries for the kingdom.
Can you imagine this child just going everywhere with her, but instead of being like, somebody take care of him, she's got him next to her, listening to every conversation, listening to every trade, listening to every decision that's being made.
Because
knowing
she's
that he's
looking at the big
absorbing
picture.
Every bit of it.
Right. It is not just about her singular moment of power.
How
She
many
is looking
people
at
do that?
how to help everything move forward.
Yeah. When she's gone, there will be that.
She's going to teach them how to say goodbye.
She's going to create that legacy.
You and I. God, this is Hamilton. I love. This is like this is
Everything?
basically like Hamilton.
It is really.
She's
just-
George Washington. You
Yeah, guys, come on.
She also did not want to remarry after Igor. This was not just a romance thing.
Mhm.
It was also still about her son because
Right.
if she remarried,
That person would.
that person becomes the
Mhm.
king. And then he would want children.
Yeah.
And then what happens with
Yeah.
her son, whose name is I can't remember. Sviatoslav.
Sviatoslav. Yeah.
When he grew older and took over, he would have to go off on these prolonged military campaigns for his kingdom.
Mhm.
And so whenever he would be off doing that, she stayed home with her grandchildren and ruled in his absence. So she still was very, like, even once he
So
grew
very
up-
involved.
Right.
Man.
Now-
And he's still like he wanted her to be.
Mhm. So in the 950s, she decides to convert to Christianity. She goes to Constantinople to
Mhm.
visit Emperor Constantine VII. This is another just great story.
I love
so
it. Okay.
when he meets her, this is a quote. He saw that she was very fair in countenance and wise as well. The emperor wondered at her intellect. She's pretty and smart. What in the world?
How did
What
this happen?
sort of sorcery? She's like all of us.
Are you?
basically.
Yeah. Body of a goddess.
He talks to her and is like, you are smart enough to be by my side and reign over my kingdom with me. I'm sure he wanted her because she's smart and hot,
Right.
but also it would have meant by marrying her, he gets her
Joined it,
kingdom.
yeah.
Yeah. So Olga's like, well, I'm still a pagan. If you want me to be baptized, the only way I'll accept it is if you are the one who baptizes me. So the emperor does just that, and Olga becomes a Christian. It seems that she was just super happy with this. Like she was very enthusiastic about it. She learned about the church and all about prayer and fasting. And she was just real into the doctrine. Like
Yeah.
she loved it. And she was Christian. As she, when she was baptized, they gave her a new name, Helena, after the ancient empress, mother of Constantine the Great. Another source says that they named her Helena after the current emperor's wife, who was also named Helena, but that seems weird.
No, don't do that.
After she's baptized, the emperor, Constantine VII, who was like amazed that a pretty woman could be so smart,
Yeah.
was like, I want you to be my wife now. And she was like, how can you marry me? You're the one that baptized me. Here's what she knew. Olga had insisted that he be the one to baptize her because she knew that if he did that, it would be unlawful for him to then marry her. When he baptized her, that made him her godfather, and the church does not allow a goddaughter to marry her godfather. It's like spiritual incest. And Constantine was
She
like,
is
you
genius.
sly little minx. She didn't want to marry him, but she also didn't want to make an enemy of him, right? And she couldn't reject him in a way that would be insulting to his
Yeah.
world. And so this is what she did, which it is freaking brilliant. So he was like, you outwitted me. And then he gave her a bunch of gifts and dismissed her, still calling her his daughter. So it was all good feelings.
Wow.
But she was right. He couldn't marry her.
No foul play.
So Olga wasn't the first person from Rus to convert to Christianity from paganism, but she was the most powerful Rus individual to do so in her lifetime. She goes home and tries to get Sviatoslav to convert to Christianity. And he's like, ugh, Mom, just let me live my life. And he refuses to convert. But even though he refuses to convert, he does agree not to persecute those in his kingdom who convert to Christianity. And that's a huge turning point for Christianity. Olga went on to build churches throughout the kingdom, even though her people generally resisted the Christian faith. So she had this goal, and it goes into a whole lot more, but I'm just not going into, it's not going to be super interesting to you guys, but she has this goal of basically converting her kingdom to Christianity, and people just were not into it. Mm-hmm. And she did a lot of work in this, and it did not go anywhere. Her grandson, however, Vladimir the Great, who was also Sviatoslav's third son, he converts to Christianity, but Olga doesn't live to see that. Oh. She died in Kiev in 969, where her tomb remained for over 200 years.
Oh my gosh.
And then it was destroyed in a battle in 1240.
Dang it.
Vladimir is credited with finishing what his grandmother had started, spreading Christianity throughout Russia. He is recognized as a saint.
That's where I've heard that from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Olga's efforts to make Kievan Rus a Christian territory had failed. Still, nearly 600 years later, in 1547, the Russian Orthodox Church named Olga a saint.
Oh,
the Eastern Orthodox Church, the Ruthenian Greek Catholic Church, and the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church call her Isapostalos.
I'm so proud of you.
I don't know if it's right. I just decided to say it confidently.
So good.
And that means equal to the apostles. The Roman Catholic Church also named her as a saint. Her feast day is July 11th, and she is the patron saint of widows and converts. Oh my gosh. Because that's what she was.
Yeah.
Thomas Cromwell, who is the author of Saints Behaving Badly, the cutthroats, crooks, trollops, conmen, and devil worshippers who became saints, which I'm like, I'll read that book, has commented, if any saint was bad to the bone, it was Olga, Princess of Kiev. She took viciousness to a new level.
That's amazing.
She serves as a role model for the Ukrainian bravery in the face of hardship. She, along with Kiev's patron saint, Saint Michael the Archangel, are key figures for those who need comfort during this time.
Oh, gosh.
Right? She was great. And like, you know, some of the stuff that I read, it was like, look, we're not going to, it's unpalatable now. Like the whole bloodthirst thing.
Right.
That wouldn't go over now.
Yes.
This is a different time.
Yes, very much so.
And
this is what they did.
Right. And it was, again, I do feel like she knew what she had to do.
Right.
And it was almost like she needed to be terrifying.
Yes.
And maybe her Viking background helped with that. Maybe it was just that she was smart enough to understand. But like, she basically had to make it so that nobody else was going to come try to challenge her and take the throne from her son.
Yeah.
He was 3. Plus, if someone killed her, what would happen to her 3-year-old son?
Right.
They'd kill him too.
Yes.
There's no reason to keep him. No. They don't want any threat to the power, right?
They don't want any lineage.
Yeah. So she knew what she had to do, and she did it.
And then she went above and beyond.
Mm-hmm. Man. So yeah, Courtney, thank you for
oh my gosh, yes,
sending that to me. I have never heard of it, and even seeing the statue, I've never even thought who is that, you know?
Yeah.
I just loved reading about her.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I haven't stopped talking about her ever since I learned about it.
So great. I love it so much.
Yeah. So that's this week's episode. I hope you guys like it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's all. That's all I've got. You got anything exciting?
No, I don't think so.
If you can find us on Facebook, we have a Facebook page now.
We do.
And just Witches, Magic, Murder, and Mystery Podcast. And then you can find our Facebook group, which is
Witches, Magic, Murder, Mystery Podcast Discussion Group.
Perfect. And it's a private group, but you just have to answer 3 questions to get in.
If you don't answer the questions, you don't get in.
Yeah, please answer the questions. It seems like all of a sudden we're having a bunch of people who aren't answering the questions again.
And I've started sending a decline with information like, you didn't answer the questions. You didn't answer, like, agree to our terms.
Oh, yeah. We'd love to have you there.
We would.
And okay. All right. We love you
so much.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.